Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the OCVarsity Gridiron Show quarterfinal edition. Steve, there is a lot of exciting games. The stakes are raised this week as
Yeah,
the quarterfinals are here. You're coming off a 5-0 week, and these games are pretty tight. There's some close ones,
yeah,
but I think we'll be challenged this week once again.
yeah. I think so. These games that you selected for us to pick on are pretty tough too, man. You set us up.
I try. I'm trying to talk about some new teams as well as much as we
Sure.
can.
Yep.
So to that end, let's get right to it. Talk about some new teams that we maybe haven't talked too much about this year. So I want to take it to Division 6, Steve.
Okay.
Northwood 9-2, taking on Murrieta Mesa 7-4. This is an interesting one. Northwood starting to kind of get on a roll. They're known for Joseph Harper, senior, do it all. As our colleague Martin Henderson called him Mr. Everything, which is true. He's a good running back. He's a good defensive player. He's a star in special teams. But Murrieta Mesa. So they're coached by former, longtime assistant in Orange County at a few different stops, and that's Oscar McBride. So Oscar had Murrieta Mesa playing up very heavily. They played higher competition than Division 6, no doubt about it. Because they've played teams like Murrieta Valley, Vista Murrieta, and they played Beaumont. I mean, they're the champions of their league, the Big West lower, but they're
Yeah.
playing up, and they have a very good 1,000-yard running back, last name Celestine. Rushed for 1,100 yards. Was a little quiet last week, but they were 42-0 victory in the first round against Ontario Christian. That was Murrieta Mesa, and Northwood defeated Ayala. So, and only 2 losses for Northwood. So, J.C. Clark, Joseph Harper, can they work some more magic and get to the semifinals, Steve?
Yeah, you're a great point by you about Murrieta Mesa playing that tough non-league run, including a loss. I think they lost to Tesoro on the opener.
Yeah.
Um, and Tesoro finished 3-7, did make the playoffs. All right, so we got that. But Murrieta Mesa comes into this game with a 6-game winning streak.
Yes.
And then you look at Northwood's schedule. Okay, they're 9-2, right? And they lost to Orange 10-6, and they lost to Laguna Beach 7-6. All right, get a little offense going. You hold, Laguna Beach's offense to 7. Man, lost opportunities in that game, I would imagine. Joseph Harper and all those guys are tough dudes, man, and they've been that way for 3 or 4 or 5 years with Adam Harper, Joseph Harper, all those guys, and I admire that team a lot. Murrieta Mesa, like we said, comes in with a 6-game winning streak. I really like Northwood. I think they play their best in the playoffs. J.C. Clark is a big playoff game coach.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to pull against Northwood, but I'm going with those Northwood guys.
Okay, and I didn't mention that this game is also at Murrieta Mesa. They're the home team.
Yeah, yeah.
And I certainly respect everything that Northwood is about. But one thing I've noticed, Steve, is that teams that play tough schedules, man, they have an advantage come playoff time. And I thought about that as I kind of look back at the Tustin Loyola game. What happened to, that was a surprising, so lopsided loss. And then look at Loyola's schedule. Man, they played some really good teams.
Right.
And they're in the Mission League. So I got to go, as it pains me as a guy that's really enjoyed covering Northwood on the road in regionals and state. Made some trip to cover the Timberwolves, but I kind of think Murrieta Mesa with that schedule, I mean, goodness, and they're the home team. I got to go with Murrieta Mesa. All right, D4 and Northwood, go prove me wrong. Division 4. Here's a team that we both covered. We've talked a little bit on the Gridiron Show. They've been in the spotlight, but not too much recently. How about El Medina? 9-2. They're on the road against Thousand Oaks. And this is again in Division 4, 7-4 for Thousand Oaks. So this brings up some interesting things, which is kind of a theme this week a little bit. Rematches in the playoffs. That's kind of always an interesting thing that happens. This is a rematch of these teams' season opener, Steve, which El Medina won 41-34. and that was on the road at Thousand Oaks. And now El Medina is going back on the road to Thousand Oaks in this Division 4 quarterfinal. And Thousand Oaks had a tough win that they kind of sealed late in the first round against St. Paul. That was a quality opponent for sure.
Yep.
And then El Medina, got past. See, I forget who they play. Oh, they got Santa Barbara in their first round game. And hey, El Medina,
21.
That was the only Delta League team that won. If it wasn't for the Vanguards, Steve, the Delta League would have went 0-6. Thank goodness for El Medina getting that win to help the Delta League get at least one postseason win. Xavier Guess, what a year this guy's having. You look at these stats now, Steve. 2,500 yards passing and 31 TDs, 1,200 yards rushing and 15 TDs. Who do you got in this one?
El Medina won that game against Thousand Oaks 41-34. Xavier Guess is just having a great year. The win over Santa Barbara 2021 last week. A home win over at Fred Kelly. He passed for 234 and rushed for 84. Just another production game for Mr. Guess. It's hard to win twice, right?
Yes.
Hard to pick a team twice. It was 41-34. And I think that Thousand Oaks, I think Thousand Oaks is going to be a tough one again. But I think when you go there twice, it's not such a freaky thing. I think you're good to go. I think you're a hot team. So I'm going to go the Vanguards.
Okay. I thought you were going to pick Thousand Oaks on that one. I think what you said there at the end, it's not a, it's not going to throw off El Medina.
It's not a strange environment.
But how about that revenge factor? I think revenge factor with high school kids, that's like the number one driving motivation is that you lose to them. That rematch is always such a big game in high school sports. And Thousand Oaks has had a long time to think about it, but I'm still picking El Medina.
Yeah. Yeah, because there is the revenge thing. But on the other side, you're going, oh man, these guys beat us last time. Ooh, so maybe there's that. Yeah. We're talking about high school psyches. Who knows?
That's right.
How many times do we talk to coaches before a game, hey, what do you think? How's practice week? That doesn't matter, because you could have a garbage week of practice, play great on Friday night, and have a great week of practice and play like garbage on Friday night.
Can happen. All right.
It happens all the time
can happen.
Kids, man. You and I are crazy to be doing this, trying to figure out high school kids. Come on.
Anything can happen in the playoffs. Let's go to Division 2, Steve. This is a great division. Orange County, very well represented in Division 2, exciting division. But is there a hotter team right now? One of the hottest teams in Orange County going. San Juan Hills. They're 10-1, Steve. Yep. I actually voted them this week in the top 25 vote. I voted them 6 in Orange County. I think if San Juan Hills plays to if San Juan Hills plays to Servite this week, San Juan Hills wins that game.
I can see that.
I would pick them. They got my number 6 vote. That's how high I'm on them. And they're going on the road in Division 2 against Oaks Christian. That is 8-3. They're coming off an impressive win in the playoffs. I don't know if you saw this. The Lions of Oaks Christian beat Oak Hills in the first round. D2, that Oaks Hills team was 10-0.
10-0.
And the Lions beat them 30-26. But also in the first round, San Juan Hills was very impressive. They've won 8 straight.
Yep.
And they shut out Beaumont 34-0. So that was a kind of a rare shutout. It hasn't happened to Beaumont recently. And that was a good Beaumont team. And 4 interceptions for San Juan Hills in that game. 13 total tackles for Weston Port. But again, this is an interesting matchup. Oaks Christian, that's a team that lost to Santa Margarita 37-17.
Right.
They play a tough schedule. San Juan Hills, back to Oaks Christian. They are starting a freshman quarterback, Steve, in Trey Towns. So that's pretty interesting. But he threw 4 TDs in that game against Oaks Hill. And they also have a USC committed defensive end.
Yep.
Hayden Lowe, 12 sacks. Who do you got in this? You think San Juan Hills can go on the road, beat a high-profile team like Oaks Christian, get to the semifinals?
Doesn't San Juan Hills feel like one of those teams of destiny things? You know, when I've been around them a couple times, I just feel like they're on the trajectory and they're going. They're going all the way to the top. So I got San Juan Hills in this game. You know, you mentioned
Yeah.
Western Port. Another their defense is loaded. Grant Kitteridge, you know, a safety. Got to be talking about him when we have our all county meeting. Luke Underdahl had 7 solo tackles last week in the shutout win. 6 of their 10 wins, 6 of them they've held teams to 7 points or less. That defense is fierce. Timmy Herb, you know, good quarterback, good game management guy, right? Ayala didn't rush for a whole bunch last week, but he's still really good. And he could go off in a game like this or at any time. So I got San Juan Hills. Like I say, team of destiny, Dan.
I got San Juan Hills too. I think, but this is going to be, you know, it's a tough road trip up there.
Sure.
Christian's got that on campus field, and you know they have a passionate fan base up there, and still going to be you know, San Juan Hills going to have to play really well, and it should be physical, and they got some guys to deal with, but I think they can get the win.
Yep.
So all right. So we've got one disagreement so far. Let's go to Division One. Great games all around, but this
is that a good division?
What's that?
That's a good division, right? Division One.
It is a very good division. Hey,
wow,
it's the best division. I have to agree with them. The best playoff division in the nation. That was from Rich Shearer, the assistant commissioner of the Southern Section, and you said that as well. Okay, go with you, Fryer. Sorry, Rich.
No, Rich knows more than I do. He's good.
But this is where it gets really loaded here. These are quarterfinals, and these 2 matchups we're going to talk about, Steve, in the quarterfinals. All these teams are coming off the bye. They've had an extra week to prepare, so these should be really good games. Everybody's, you know, as healthy as they possibly can be this late in the season. But this is a game you're going to be covering at Orange Coast College. It's going to be Orange Lutheran playing host to JSerra. A couple of teams hooking up. Lancers 7-3, the number 3 seed. You got JSerra 6-4. Now, how do these teams do in the Trinity League? You might ask. It was also played at Orange Coast College. It was a pretty good game. Orange Lutheran won 23-17. Very tight. So JSerra's got that revenge factor. They got a very good dual threat quarterback in Ryan Hopkins, who keeps seeming to getting better all the time. They got a playmaker in the secondary, and Logan Christensen. Madden Faramio is looking great at linebacker, even though he's playing with the club. He's doing the best, you know, showing a lot of courage, I say. And then on the flip side, Orange Lutheran playing that tough, brutal schedule. Who are their losses to? Mater Dei, Bosco, Barely, and Bishop Gorman. So they're kind of built for this kind of postseason run based on that kind of schedule. And then TJ Lateef, senior quarterback, committed to Nebraska. He's having his best year of his career by far. Over 2,000 yards. He's hit 20 touchdowns. And I've been really impressed with his maturation this year. But can JSerra, Victor Santa Cruz, that vibe that he brings, can they somehow derail Orange Lutheran, which is exploding in all sports, including flag football, Steve? They're the D1 champions. Coach Rod Sherman was a assistant there for his wife, Kristen. And now Rod's in another big game with his Lancers, built for this moment, I say. But what do you have in this one?
Can JSerra beat Orange Lutheran? Yes. Will they? No, I'm going with Olu in this game. I think they're going to win it again. I think they're just both these teams are great. You know, Ryan Hopkins, when I've seen him play for quarterback for JSerra, great. You know, you've got a Talanoa Ely linebacker at Orange Lutheran. Madam Frima, like you mentioned, is 2 of the best linebackers in the state in the same game. Oh, yeah. If you like linebacker play, which I kind of dig, it's going to be really good. But I like Orange Lutheran in this game. I think their offense is going to outscore JSerra. If anybody's going to be successful against stopping the other team's offense, I think Orange Lutheran's got a better chance of stopping JSerra's offense, and JSerra's defense has a chance at stopping Olu. It comes down to that for me.
All right. I'm also picking the Lancers, and but I think JSerra will be very well prepared, well coached, and this could be a tight game for a while. I would expect it to be close at halftime, and we'll see who can execute the best. But we'll see how Orange Lutheran, if they can, use their, both teams have really good offensive line. Let's see who can run it better. I think that will be important. Steve Chavez, leading the way there for Orange Lutheran at the running back position. But I got the Lancers, and then let's see if they play Bosco or they play Santa Margarita. I think that will be another good game in that quarterfinal bracket. I know the Lancers would certainly love another crack at the Braves, who they narrowly lost to in their Trinity League opener last minute of the game. That game slipped away from the Lancers. All right, Steve, I think this is the game of the week, and I'll sell it for us here. Sell it for you. Mission Viejo playing host to Centennial Corona. So Diablos, they're just 10-0. They're the 4 seed. Centennial 8-2. They're the 5 seed. Great coaches. They're led by, legendary coach Matt Logan for the Huskies. Huskies have won 8 in a row. Started out the year with the loss to Mater Dei, got stunned by Santa Margarita. They've, all year kind of maybe, well, at least early on, they certainly were dealing with some injuries, including Husan Longstreet.
Yes.
He's played 8 games, so he's missed some time, but a very talented dual threat quarterback. But on the flip side, Diablos, right? They've won 18 in a row. Longest 11-man winning streak in the state of California. I got them number 2 in Orange County. And then, they got guys like Jaden Williams with 23 sacks and Dijon Lee, 4 interceptions in the secondary. Should be some really good game matchups, receivers and secondary in this one. And then recent Georgia commit, Steve, Vance Spafford, junior wide receiver. You know about their QB combination, Luke Fahey, Drayden Trudeau. The list goes on. Lost star power at Mission Viejo, but this is still for public school pride. It's still for who's the best public school team in California, and you get the right to try to likely play Mater Dei in the semifinals. Number 1 team in the country. Who's going to win this one, Steve?
Mission Viejo. And now I was talking to some people that know things pretty well in a lot of ways. They go, man, Matt Logan coach team though. Don't overlook him. Longstreet's back. The Texas A&M commit. He was really good last week. And this team 2 weeks ago, or all season rather. And this team with running back Braylon Drake, they average 240 rushing yards a game. So they can control the clock and pound it up. But Mission Viejo's quick strike capability, and Hines Ward back there at running back as well. Gosh, I like, and the defense is studly from back to front to back. Mission Viejo in this game. I've got Mission.
Yeah, I could definitely see Centennial trying to control the clock. Either way, they can do it with the short passing game, with the running backs, with the quarterbacks running, with the running backs trying to chew up clock. I think Mission Viejo isn't the biggest defensive front.
No.
So maybe you try to run it on them, try to keep that offense, that high octane offense off the field. That's probably the best shot, I'd say, for anybody really playing Mission Viejo. They're so talented on offense. But I'm picking the Diablos to win 19 in a row. A couple years ago, I saw them defeat Centennial Corona out in Corona for their in another great playoff game. And that was a really well-played game. Centennial always plays hard under Coach Logan. They'll come back if they're down. They'll make adjustments. They'll come up with some trick plays. They'll find giving Coach Logan that kind of time that to prepare with the bye week. But Mission Viejo, they're very good on special teams. They're very well coached as well. Chad Johnson on down with that staff. This is a great matchup. Should be some fun football. Because, Diablos, who knows, they'll have Vance Spafford trying to block something on a block punts like he could do. They'll come up with something to try to match wits with Coach Logan. So, but I am picking the Diablos. So we only disagree on one game, and that is our opener, Division 6. We disagreed on Northwood, Murrieta, Mesa. Again, not good news for me when I trail you by 5 games, Mr. Fryer, when we only disagree on one. But we'll see if I can pick up a game this week.
Maybe you will. We'll find out.
I'm
picking against an Orange County team.
I am trying so hard. and trying to come up with good games. And I'm
No,
glad.
you did. No, these games are bad.
And I'm
Whew,
trying
tough.
to maybe next week I will come up with some other games we can disagree on when we talk
Okay.
semifinals. So everybody enjoy these games coming up on Friday, November 15th in the quarterfinals. One of the best rounds of the playoffs in the quarterfinals. And let's see how Orange County does. So any parting words, Mr. Fryer?
No, sir. You're going to be at Los Amigos on Thursday too, right? As they try and go
Los
12 and
Amigos,
0.
11-0 Lobos, best start
Yeah.
in school history. And then I'll be at Mission Viejo on Friday. So many good games coming up.
Yeah, lots going on. It's going to be a fun week of football, and we'll have all of our people all over the place. And Dan and I will be ready to go. And it's going to. And I got my predictions column coming up later on this week. And so here we go. Let's go, man.
All right. So for Steve Fryer, I'm Dan Albano, and thanks for joining us on the OC Varsity Gridiron Show.